Can we talk about one of the hardest parts of motherhood? Not the laundry, not the messes, not even the exhaustion and burnout, but the conversations, the ones where your stomach tightens before you even begin. The moments where your child tells you something difficult, or you know you need to address behavior, friendships, choices, lying, attitudes, boundaries, faith, screens, sex, mistakes, emotions, whatever it is. And suddenly, you feel this pressure rise up inside you. What do I say? How do I handle this well? What if I mess this up? What if I say the wrong thing? And sometimes fear makes you avoid the conversation completely. Sometimes stress makes you walk into it with frustration already in your voice. But today, I want to help you see these conversations differently because you are more equipped than you think you are. And those hard conversations, they're not interruptions to parenting. They are parenting. Welcome to Conquer Mom Stress, the podcast that helps you stress less and enjoy motherhood more. If you've ever crawled into bed at night completely exhausted, but still feel like there's so much left to do, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Jill Gokul, and I believe that motherhood is meant to feel joyful, not exhausting. Together, we'll uncover what's really fueling your stress and give you the practical tools to conquer it so you can finally feel like the confident mom you were made to be. Also, if you have a specific question or issue you're stressing about, head over to jillgokul.com/ask to submit your question. And who knows, you might just be featured in an upcoming episode so you can get practical, real-world solutions to the exact challenges you're facing. I remember one evening when one of my kids came up to me clearly upset about something, and immediately my brain started racing. I could feel myself wanting to jump in with advice, correct the situation, lecture a little, and panic internally. You know that feeling where you suddenly want to fix everything as quickly as possible? And when my child was talking, I realized something important. My emotional state was going to shape the entire conversation. If I reacted with fear, my child would feel unsafe. If I reacted with anger, my child would shut down. If I reacted with judgment, my child would filter what they shared. So I remember silently praying in my head, Lord, help me stay calm. Help me understand before I respond, and help me know the words to say. So I intentionally softened my tone. And do you know what happened? My child kept talking. They opened up more. They felt safe enough to be honest, even about something that was incredibly difficult to share. Hard conversations are rarely about having the perfect words. They're about creating the kind of emotional environment where truth can actually be received. Because the moment you do that, it strengthens your relationship with your child. So many moms walk into difficult conversations carrying fear. Fear of saying the wrong things, fear of losing control of the conversation, fear of being disrespected. Sometimes it's fear about your child making poor choices or what other people will think, worrying about what this situation means about you as a mom. Fear changes the way you communicate. It makes your tone sharper. It makes you reactive. It makes you try to control instead of connect. Instead of leading from peace, you lead from panic. And when you're consumed by fear or stress, you stop showing up as the calm, wise, grounded mother God created you to be. Scripture gives us such beautiful guidance here. In James chapter 1, verse 19, it says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Quick to listen, not quick to lecture, not quick to panic, not quick to react. Quick to listen, because listening is the result when your goal is understanding. When you're quick to respond, you're responding based on assumptions or a knee-jerk reaction. You're reacting emotionally without thinking. And Proverbs chapter 14:29 says, people with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness. So when it comes to your kids, your number one goal should be to seek understanding what led them to do or say something, understanding their emotional state, understanding what's going on in their heads, and setting your sights on helping your child understand how to move forward. To do this, you first have to understand what actually happens inside a child's brain during difficult conversations, because understanding this changes everything. When children feel emotionally unsafe, their brain shifts into survival mode. God designed our brains to protect us. So when your child senses anger, judgment, harshness, or emotional unpredictability, their nervous system reacts with protection. Their brain starts moving into fight, flight, or freeze mode. That means defensiveness increases, honesty decreases, learning shuts down, and logical thinking weakens. This is why kids often argue back, shut down, avoid eye contact, say, "I don't know," or stop talking altogether. Their brain no longer feels safe enough to stay open and receptive, and it closes the door to communication. However, a child feels emotionally safe when your tone stays calm, when your body language feels open, when they sense compassion from you instead of condemnation. This allows their nervous system to stay regulated. And when their brain feels safe, their listening improves, understanding increases, communication deepens, and trust grows. That's when real influence happens, not through force or correction, but through connection. Sometimes moms avoid difficult conversations because it's uncomfortable, and that makes sense. But when conversations are avoided consistently, children start learning important things somewhere else, from peers, social media, television, internet, and those voices become louder than yours, which is unfortunate because those voices also may not have the same values as you, which is a problem because they are helping shape your child's moral compass. You want to be the one who shapes that, and it starts with walking into the murky waters of hard conversations, even if you have no idea what you're doing. Listen, the goal is not perfection. The goal is building a relationship where your child sees you as a safe source of wisdom, a place to come with questions and to have open communication to discuss things that might be embarrassing for you or your kids. Luckily, I know you, Mama. You want the best for your kids and would do literally anything to help them. Well, guess what? Hard conversations are the best thing you can do to help set your child up for success in life, especially if you want your children to trust you, feel safe telling you hard things, seek wisdom from you, develop discernment, and know how to think through choices that go against popular opinion. That kind of relationship is built conversation by conversation over time. So how do you actually do this? How do you walk into difficult conversations feeling calm, grounded, and connected instead of fearful and reactive? Well, let's go back to James chapter 1, verse 19. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. These are practical parenting tools, especially in hard conversations, because your calm presence becomes a place of safety for your child. Here are 5 ways to handle hard conversations with peace and wisdom. First, regulate yourself before you address your child. This is huge. Your child does not need your immediate reaction. They need your grounded presence. So before the conversation, breathe deeply, pray internally, and slow your body down. Be cognizant of what emotional state you want to bring into the conversation, because children mirror emotional energy. If you come in escalated, they escalate. But if you come in calm, their nervous system settles too. Second, approach the conversation with curiosity. Curiosity changes everything. It's a dual-sided benefit. On one hand, it helps you keep from spiraling into a knee-jerk reaction. When you respond without thinking, that's what Proverbs 14 would call a hot temper, which shows great foolishness. The moment you respond without thinking, you have just shifted your brain out of logical thinking and into survival mode. Fight or flight mode. A knee-jerk reaction or emotional outburst is a huge sign that your brain has gone into fight mode. But curiosity diffuses your emotional response and keeps you in the logical part of your brain. It makes you slow to anger because you are now actively seeking understanding. Do you remember the other part of Proverbs 14? It says that people with understanding control their anger. This curiosity also puts your child's brain at ease, keeping their brain out of survival mode and in safe observation mode. You're helping them ask themselves questions, to be curious about the decisions they made, and curious to what could have been done differently or how those choices can negatively impact them in the long run. So instead of assuming, ask questions, seek understanding, and stay open. Try asking them, "Help me understand what happened here." That sentence alone creates safety, and your child feels invited into the conversation instead of pulled into interrogation. Third, focus on teaching, not controlling. Children understand and retain wisdom more deeply when they understand why. So instead of saying, "because I said so," had conversations about consequences, values, reasoning, character, wisdom. When you do this, you're helping your child develop internal understanding, not just external compliance. And that is really what you want as a mom. You want your child to be able to make the decisions for themselves that are best and not go along with whoever is the loudest influence telling them what to do. You want them to have wisdom and confidence to do what is right, not blind obedience to do what they're being ordered to do. 4, keep your tone matter of fact and calm. This doesn't mean being passive. It means staying emotionally steady. A calm tone communicates we can handle hard things together. Children feel safer opening up when they know your emotions won't overwhelm the conversation, and when they know that they're safe, that you're not going to have an outburst at them. And 5, pray silently throughout the conversation. This has helped me so many times because even if you start the conversation off regulated, like we talked about in tip 1, there will be a million opportunities to lose your cool throughout the entire conversation. So it's imperative you continually regulate yourself and seek God's help. While your child is talking, quietly pray, "Holy Spirit, guide my words. Help me listen well. Help me see my child clearly. Help me know how to respond." You do not have to carry these conversations alone. God is present in them too. I have used these 5 tips so many times when talking to my kids, whether I had an inkling that something was going on with them or when I've caught them red-handed doing something they know they are not supposed to do. And every time we leave the conversation with my child feeling helped through the situation instead of being seen as a bad person for their choices. Now, you wouldn't believe the stuff my kids confide in me or ask me about because they know Mom isn't going to judge. She isn't going to react. She's just going to join in the conversation and help me through it. There's a beautiful quote from St. Francis de Sales that says, "Nothing is so strong as gentleness. Nothing is so gentle as real strength." Gentleness is often misunderstood as weakness, but staying calm in a difficult conversation takes tremendous strength. Remaining emotionally grounded while your child's upset, listening when you want desperately to react, responding with wisdom when fear rises up. That's strength. But by doing this, over time, your child learns something powerful. Mom is a safe place to tell the truth. When you do these 5 tips, you will become someone who listens with calmness, compassion, and wisdom. Someone who stays emotionally safe enough to approach honestly and who becomes your child's strongest confidant. That kind of relationship is built one conversation at a time. So the next time a hard conversation comes up, pause, pray, breathe, and remember, you do not need perfect words. You just need a calm heart, an open mind, and a willingness to understand your child while guiding them toward truth. Being a good mom isn't about always saying the perfect thing. It's about creating a relationship where your child feels safe enough to keep talking. And that kind of trust, it changes generations. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Conquer Mom Stress. If today's conversation encouraged you, hit follow and leave a review. That lets me know that these episodes are hitting the topics you need. And while you're there, share this podcast with another mom who might need to hear it. Your thoughtfulness might just be what she needs to get through the day. Remember, this is your place to pause, rest, and start conquering mom stress, one small step at a time. Motherhood isn't meant to drain the life out of you. It's meant to be lived with joy, even on the messy days. And together, we're going to find that joy again.